started. Okay, so welcome to part 4 of 4 in our Facebook advertising adventure. Um, Everything we've covered up to now has built up to this point, including some non-Facebook topics like Google Analytics and conversion tracking and things like that. So if you haven't been able to catch all of the webinars so far from the More Customers Faster site, then you definitely want to take a look at the YouTube channel where we post those. It's just youtube.com/more customers faster. The link is right there. And I would encourage you to subscribe, and also would appreciate it if you like the videos or leave comments or whatever, because that helps it, get more Google love, so to speak, and more subscribers. And, that's the goal. So last week in part 3, we talked about unpublished posts. And if you're not familiar with unpublished posts, it's almost exclusively the way I run ads to do lead generation and simultaneously get likes. And it's really quite powerful. I was not a big fan of Facebook until I discovered this capability and then played with it, experimented with it. And right now I'm seeing less expensive leads and conversions for pretty much all of my clients when compared to Google AdWords. We also talked about advanced reporting and optimization, and that's an important part of the process. Being able to run a report that tells you, what types of people or even what age groups are clicking on your ads, and then also converting into leads or sales. So, the reporting and analytics component of any advertising campaign is something that you never want to overlook. It just needs to be part of your process when advertising, because otherwise you're going to be overspending. And 9 times out of 10, when you take over someone else's ad campaign, if you're helping out a customer or even just reviewing something for a friend or whatever, what you'll notice is that they rarely have a proper implementation of analytics, and they rarely have a real understanding of which advertisements are generating customers. And just knowing those things can significantly reduce costs and increase the value that you're bringing to someone you're working with. So today we're going to talk about niche research, and then we're going to go into actually creating a campaign. Now I'm going to do it through something called the Power Editor. You're probably familiar with that from Facebook. Power Editor does require that you use Google Chrome. And then I'm also going to briefly show you around a paid application called Qwaya. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but one of the advantages of that tool is, multi-user access. So currently, if you ran a Facebook campaign for somebody else and you wanted to give a work associate access, there really isn't an easy way to do that, because you'd have to, give them access to your Facebook account. But Qwaya is a good way around that. Plus, it has some really powerful features that are useful and can save you time and so on. And ultimately, what I'd like to do out of this live campaign that I'm going to show you is generate a couple of leads. I just checked, and I think that I already have generated some leads, and I'll share that with you. I built a campaign last night, but I'm also going to build a separate campaign. Really, it's an ad set, and share that with you today as part of the live process. But first, let's talk a little bit about research, because one of the things that is going to make or break an advertising campaign of any kind, whether it's on Google or Facebook or anywhere, is just knowing what's out there, what the competitors are doing, and what the demographic looks like. If you're lucky enough, Quantcast is kind of hit and miss in my experience, but if you're lucky enough, you can put in a website. It has to be a decent sized website, but you can put in a website into Quantcast, and it'll come back with actual demographic data. So they'll tell you things like, most of the visitors are women over 40 or what have you. And what that can do is really save you a significant amount of time on Facebook, because if you know that, the primary target market for a particular topic is men or women of a certain age group, or they like related topics of some sort, those all give you an advantage when you're in Facebook, because that's really what it's all about. It's all about the demographic and interest groups. Another place you can go is ClickBank, believe it or not. You can go to ClickBank and search the marketplace and just see if there is a product for your particular niche or topic. One of the things that I like to do for some of my clients is help them reduce their advertising costs by encouraging them to develop an info product. Now, why would we do that? Well, if you're in a space where the cost per clicks are really high and they're mostly interested in, someone getting an appointment with them and spending several $1,000s with them or something of that nature. We all know that being an authority, like writing a book, can give you an advantage in the marketplace. And it's similar when you create an info product, because if you've created the product, you become the teacher, you're the expert. So the side benefit is when you're advertising is you could be, let's just say you created a ClickBank style product, an info product, or the client did, and that product was selling for $27, and they could convert 50% of all the leads generated on that product. Well, that probably means that you could offset most, if not all, of their front end advertising dollars, and then follow up with those leads to try and get them, to set the appointments, make the calls, show up to the office, whatever the case may be. So just keep that in mind. Amazon.com is also useful. I'll go to each one of these tools really quickly and just show you what I'm talking about. SEMrush I like quite a bit for keyword related research, and then also some competitive data. Keyword Spy, another favorite, and then of course Facebook itself. Now with their different search tools, it'll give you some great interest groups and things like that. So with that said, we'll go into some of that research and then right into the live demo. So what I'm going to do is fire up the Chrome browser. I have like a separate window happening here. Okay, so this is a campaign. So let's first go to Quantcast and talk about that, or have a demonstration related to that. So Quantcast will typically give you really good, see it says right here, demographic and traffic stats. So if you typed in CNN.com, for example, I can't remember if this is a good one. This might be a bad one. Yes, it doesn't give you demographic data. Let's try and find a different one. I wonder if Facebook will give us something. Pinterest, one of those. Nope, no demographic data. Somebody throw out a website for me that you think would have. It's got to be a good size website. Drawing blanks here. Pinterest, maybe? No, no demographic data. Google, Subaru. There you go. That's a good one. Subaru. Crystal, thank you for that. Whoops, Subaru.com. Man, we're striking out here. This is one of the things I don't like about Quantcast, is it takes a while to find, or not everything has Sports Illustrated. sportsillustrated.cnn.com. Nothing. Or maybe they're hiding that data now and you have to have a paid account. That was not the case in the past. Whoa, look at this. Coca-Cola's got a huge spike in traffic. What is going on? Maybe some new ad campaign, huh? So one of the things that, man, I really wish I could find one, because I like the way it I like the way it shows demographic data on this one it's running, but they're probably hiding it or something. So, which sucks. I'm trying to think of what's our brand? Guess. No demographic data. What's that? Huffington Post? All right, maybe they'll have something on that. Yeah, request access. Yeah, all right. Never mind. Actually, I think we can do it with the Google Ad Planner. Does the same thing. I completely forgot about that. Display Planner. No, I don't want to do that. Never mind. We'll do the ones I like. So we'll go to Keyword Spy. One of my favorites, actually, if I spell it right. Oh, I already had it up here. Okay, so Keyword Spy, you can create a free account, and when you create the free account, it'll actually let you get just a little bit more data. If you just go straight there and run something, it doesn't work quite as well. So you could do like, for example, plumber, San Diego, for example. And even though it says domains, it'll automatically switch to keywords. It's smart enough to do that. See how it switched to keywords. Then what it does is it tells you like how much people are spending, what the top keywords are and related keywords are. Now, if you go across the top here, you can look at who are the folks paying for advertising. So like Home Advisor, as you might expect, Sears, and so on, and then organic competitors. Now, so one of the things I used to do when Quantcast worked a lot better was I'd go find these competitors, organic and PPC, and then just take those URLs for the bigger ones and then stick them into Quantcast and get demographic data out of that same set of information. But usually you would go also and look at these ads. And one of the things you can do is, it says ads seen 1 of 1 days. Well, really what you want to do is find the ones that have been, sorry about that, dog's going nuts here. You want to find one of the ones that has been running for a long time. So you see this one, it's like 5 of 152 days. In theory, that means that this ad is working for them. Dog. So now that you have to validate that, but what this should tell you is that these headlines, essentially that they are for the ads, are something that's worth testing. So, if you've got uh, plumbing companies, emergency plumbers, like we have emergency plumber in there twice. Plumbing and like locksmithing and stuff like that, those are things that work great for Google pay-per-click advertising because it's a search topic that somebody needs immediate help for. Whereas when you're doing Facebook advertising, I probably wouldn't advertise emergency plumbing style services on Facebook. Maybe I would do something more like, plumber reviews or something like that. But you have to think about, you know, what the target market is, what people are interested in, and then, also do your research here. Um, so let's see, I had a list of tools. My favorites recently, SEMrush used to not be as good as it is now, but one of the things I really like about SEMrush is I actually have a paid account with this one because I use it so much. So one of the things I like about SEMrush is that if you type in a domain name, it not only will it give you like search engine traffic, it'll also give you advertising traffic, and that's not really the part that I like the best. What I like the best is this competitors in advertising, so the people who are bidding against that particular URL, what their ads look like, just like what we saw in Keyword Spy, and then more importantly, um, potential ad traffic sellers and potential ad traffic buyers. So what this means is that, webcrawler.com, ask.com, info.com, fidelity.com, these people would be potentially interested in buying traffic or placing ads on CNN, and then CNN would be, in theory, interested in placing traffic or placing ads on these sites. So you can do the same thing for a client, right? So if you have a customer website or your own website, one of the things that it will do is tell you where you can go and buy advertising for that client. And that's useful even in Facebook, because now what you could do is, all right, if these are good targets for me to buy advertising for my business or for my client's business, one of the things you can do is see who's spending the most money, so ad-based keywords. And then you can also see, if they'll sell advertising via AdSense. And then, of course, in the Facebook space, a lot of these folks like Huffington Post, Chicago Tribune, etc., if this is showing up as something that you could potentially advertise on, they probably have Facebook pages. And if you don't know this already, you can target people who have liked these pages as people to show ads to. So what essentially what can happen is you come in here, put in your client website or your own website, then find out what the suggested locations are for advertising, and then see if those suggested locations have Facebook fan pages, and then show ads to those fans because in theory they match the demographic. Let's see. The next thing that I was going to tell you. Okay, so I also like Amazon. .com, so you can just type in anything like, investing, for example, and then, one of the things that a lot of marketers do, and I'm sure you've seen this before, is look at the number of reviews in terms of popularity, look at the title, right? Because this title can be used in your ad. You can also, in the case of Facebook, if this has a lot of reviews and has a good title, etc., you can actually find people on Facebook who have read this book, right? A lot of people will mark that in their profile that they've read this book, and then that means you can advertise to them. The other thing you can do is when you go in and look at like the reviews, you can see what people are saying about it, like what they like about it, what they don't like about it, like these bullet points could potentially be great bullet points for your sales page or your opt-in page. So if you're in the investing space, this is a great place to find objections, benefits, bullet points, and advertising keywords and targets, as well as the titles of books can become ad titles. So um, that's kind of the 20-second view of doing research here. Let's go into the actual Power Editor. So some of you know that I have a piece of software I created called Local Niche Spy, and I figured I actually don't advertise this or do anything with it really other than try to maintain it, pay my programmers to update it from time to time, which it's actually in need of an update. Um, but basically, it's a keyword research tool, and I recently rebuilt the home page. So the home page is more like an opt-in page / landing page. So when you click on this, it gives you a free download opt-in. And so what I did is I went in here and I created an image ad. This is a timeline ad. So what that means is that it shows up in the actual timeline of people's Facebook page. So you can see, let's see here. I think I can do this. View as a post. So this is what it would look like inside of somebody's Facebook page, right? Hide all this stuff here. I forget how you do that even. Anyway, so that's what it looks like to somebody who sees the ad. So they see Local Niche Spy. I have a page that actually exists for it. There's the image ad. This is the copy, etc. Now, one of the things that's interesting about an unpublished post, which is what this is like you'll notice I put localnichespy.com, but really I can put anything I want in there, and the destination URL can be anything, even though it's showing a page, because like if you click that, it takes me to the actual page. But in reality, um, if they click anywhere on the ad, it's going to take them to your landing page, which in this case is my home page. So one of the benefits of an unpublished post is that when you create it, you can associate it with a fan page, but it can really go to a landing page, which can include a completely different URL. And that's the thing that makes an unpublished post so powerful, and the reason I use them to do lead generation for my clients and for myself. Now, let me just see here if this is working. Now, it looks like, just as a side note, it looks like my conversion code is not working correctly, or it just is delayed in updating. I don't know which. But let's just see here. Hold on one second. I just took a screenshot of my email. So you can see here that I have, oops, got to resize this. This is from Snagit. So you can see here that I have 3 new opt-ins. So it's 11:19 a.m. Pacific right now, and I turned this ad on right around 10:30 a.m. And so you can see I have 3 signups already from these different folks have signed up for the free version of Local Niche Spy. And then this is the Power Editor. So one of the things that is a common mistake with the Power Editor is you have to realize is that this is not live. See how it says last uploaded 1 hour ago? That means this is old data. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go to the actual Facebook advertising, live platform. So you can just go to facebook.com/ads and then, pick your campaigns and stuff. And so let me go back to campaigns here real quick. I've got the Local Niche Spy demo campaign. And so you can see that I've spent so far $4.20 and I have 3 leads for Local Niche Spy. So, I'm spending a little over $1 per lead. That's with no optimization, no split testing of the ads, no nothing. Now, granted, free software is pretty attractive, and with the targeting that I've set, which is basically internet marketing type folks and people that are interested in SEO, I'm going to have a pretty high conversion. But that's the point, right? I can target people who are interested in SEO and give them this free SEO software, and then I'm going to get relatively inexpensive opt-ins. And if I was actually pushing them to buy anything, maybe some sales as well. But the point is, when I go to create a campaign like this, so I've got the Local Niche Spy demo campaign. The first thing you do, right, in the Power Editor is you actually just name the campaign. I've put on here that my objective is website conversions, right? So it's going to measure how much it costs me to generate a lead. As I said a moment ago, I don't think my conversion code is working correctly. So we'll see. I'll give you an update next week when we do our next webinar. But so I've got the campaign, then I've got the ad sets. Now I've created one ad set called I do AS for ad set, AS timeline 1 -ext. If you recall from our last training, -ext is what I use as a reference to my external lists. And what that means is that I've uploaded, email addresses, and then I told Facebook to create a custom audience. If it's INT for me, that means it's an internal list. So that would be like anybody who's on this webinar. If I put your email in here and it also happens to match your Facebook account, I can show an advertisement to you, maybe to remind you of this webinar or whatever the case may be. In this case, all I've done is said, hey, just show me people that look like folks who have downloaded Local Niche Spy before. I just uploaded my old Local Niche Spy list and created a replicate list. So we have a timeline ad. So there's the timeline ad set. If I go into the actual ads themselves, you'll see image ad 1 and then image ad sidebar 1. Obviously the syntax there is a little off, so it should be like image dash ad. And then this one should be timeline. I just got another opt-in while we were sitting here for Local Niche Spy, so I might actually have to run this campaign. It seems like it's working. So I've got the image ad timeline 1, image ad sidebar 1. So the image ad timeline 1 is actually up and running and generating leads for us right now. You can see that I set the age at 25 to 65 and all that kind of stuff. This is an unpublished post. You'll notice that it actually shows in the list here. The fan page that I'm using as my unpublished post is Local Niche Spy. That's why this little Local Niche Spy thing shows up here. If I change it to something completely different, to Arizona Vacation Rentals or something else, then it'll say something completely different up here. That's one of the things that you can do when you're creating these is you can go, there's no cost to create another fan page. So you could just create another fan page and it could literally have something completely different. I could, instead of saying Local Niche Spy, it could say free SEO software. And then it could have a completely different image over here that maybe looks like a Google Places page, or any image that we think might get their attention more so than the graphic. And that's really something that's worth testing once you have it up and running. And then what you do is you go and you create your unpublished post. We went through this whole process last week, so I won't go through this. But basically, you upload your images, your links. The URL that you go to is the actual landing page. The display link can say whatever you want it to say. So, in my case, I made it say localnichespy.com, but it could say localnichespy.com, and then the destination URL could be mytestpage.net or something. It can be completely different. This is very, very useful. Here's why. If you've ever been in a situation where you're working with a customer or a product or something like that, and you don't have full access to their existing website, you can set up a test website. You could use, Unbounce or Lead Pages or something and send traffic there. But from a branding and marketing perspective, it still looks like it's their normal domain. That's something you can't really do in Google. They don't let you do that anymore. We used to be able to do that. You can't do that anymore. If you want to track this individual ad, you can use this URL tag thing. So you can do like ID equals, this is my timeline. So I could say timeline dash ad one dash LNS, which is short for local niche spy. And then you can put in, the ampersands and question marks and whatever and add additionals, just like they say here. So if you really want to get advanced, okay, so not necessary, but if you want to get advanced. Now, if you want to do conversion tracking, you need to create a tracking pixel and then select the pixel that you're going to use. And so what that means is that when somebody actually opts into your form, it's going to tell you which ad generated that. That is key and critical. You never want to run a campaign that doesn't have some sort of conversion tracking. Danny asked, is Facebook approving ads to squeeze pages? Yes, they are approving ads to squeeze pages. You have to have, I believe, an address, a privacy policy, phone number, that kind of stuff. It's very similar to Google, but a little less restrictive. Now you'll notice on here I did desktop news feed only. So what I'm going to do now on the sidebar ad, I've got the desktop news feed. If I look at the right column, it doesn't really have it in there. Okay, there it goes. Find keywords and then free keyword software. So I actually haven't created anything for this sidebar. Now that's if I wanted it to look exactly or use the same content, etc., that I've already created for the timeline, the newsfeed ad. One of the things that I insist you do is that you run, by default it says all Facebook feeds. Never, ever, ever do that. You want to create an ad set or a campaign for the right-hand column, an ad set or a campaign for the desktop news feed, and then same thing for mobile. So if I was going to advertise the mobile, I'd do mobile. If I was going to do desktop, then I do newsfeed desktop only. If I'm going to do right-hand column, I do right-hand column only. So I'm going to do right-hand column, which I call sidebar up here. You'll notice that. Typically, your click-through rate on the sidebar is going to be lower than the timeline, but it's going to be less expensive per click. That's been my experience anyway. So we've got the right-hand column, desktop only, or I'm sorry, I don't want that. Yeah, right-hand column, desktop only, that's correct. Which means that this is irrelevant. What everyone is going to see is just this. And so for the sake of time, I'm actually just going to leave that alone, not going to create the ad. The audience and everything else, let's see, I had custom audiences in here. Use existing target group. That's what we want. So the existing target group is the one that was created for the ad sets. And we'll leave all this stuff alone. Optimization and pricing. I'm going to do optimize CPM. I usually do optimize CPM clicks. Now, if I do news feeds, I usually start at the news feeds optimize CPM clicks of $1. I'm going to do on the sidebar is cheaper, so I'm going to do 75 cents. It should end up, lower than that. I'm going to set this to nothing. And then that's all it. You do this and you're like, okay, where's the save button? Well, there is no save button. It's done. Whatever you've put in here is what you see is what you get. So now all I need to do is just upload the changes, right? So it's uploading all the campaigns and all the changes. And that's it. So that's the thing, like with Power Editor, you have to really realize and be aware that it's not active until you push it up. The other thing you need to be aware of is that you need to download before you upload, because when you download, it's going to update all of your other data. So that's basically the Power Editor. Obviously, we went into more detail last week on this whole process, but what I really want to show you is this app called Qwaya. And this thing has been changing on a regular basis. And if you're going to manage multiple accounts, or if you consider yourself a power user, then I recommend that you take a look at it. You can get a free trial. It's $99 a month. Pretty hard to justify if you're not doing much advertising. But this is what we use to manage most of our client campaigns. So obviously you can go over here and see existing campaigns that are running by just clicking on My Campaigns. What you'll notice is that it's actively downloading and uploading. It kind of just does all that stuff in the background, which is something that the Power Editor doesn't do, right? So here's my local niche spy demo campaign. Here's the number of impressions, how many clicks. My click-through rate's really high. Look at that, 2.511%. That's insane. Which probably explains why my clicks are so cheap. My cost per click is 38 cents. That's pretty darn good. The sidebar one, which we just uploaded, is active, but obviously it doesn't have any traffic yet, so we're waiting on that. So those are your ad sets, and then you can actually go look at the ads, right? Now, one of the things that is fantastic for this. Oh, look, I actually didn't change the targeting, so I'm just targeting 136 million people. Definitely need to fix that. One of the things that's really powerful about Qwaya is this. So you can actually go down here and look at the creative, see all the details. You can change your bidding, you can change all your tracking and everything like that. But this graphing is fantastic. So you can check out all the graphs. You can actually export that data. So you could send it to a client if you needed to. And really, this is all awesome stuff, but not even my favorite piece. One of my favorite things is when you're in the ad set section, you can actually do ad set rules and ad rules. So you can set a rule like, if the click is below, 10 clicks in the last 24 hours, then pause it. Or if a more appropriate response would be if my CTR is below, let's say 1%, and I might say in the last 2 days, then I want you to pause it. The other thing that is useful is to rotate ads, because one of the things that you guys might have heard of in the banner ad space and Facebook is ad blindness. And so if I just run that same ad forever and ever and ever, eventually people see it. I'm sure you've experienced this on Facebook. You're like, I keep seeing this stupid guy's face every day. It's the same thing, and eventually you just, either click it to not show anymore or you stop paying attention to it. So actually rotating your ads, so going to this ad rotation section and say, rotate ads in the campaign every day or every 2 days and show one ad in each rotation. I never show more than one ad, and I typically rotate it every 2 days. So my typical thing when I'm using Qwaya, now I'm not doing that in this case because I only have one ad per ad set, right? But what I typically do is create 2 ads, almost like a split test, and I will run one of those ads every 2 days. So I'll set it just like you see here, 2 days, one ad. I make sure I have 2 actual advertisements in here, and then Qwaya will automatically rotate those. Then when I know which one is winning, I pull the loser out, and then I test in a different ad. The other thing that I'll do is create a whole new ad set and pause the ad set that's been running for a week or two, create a whole new ad set with a whole new set of images to avoid that whole banner blindness concept. Now, here's something else that you'll find really useful. I don't know if you know this, but like when you're in the Power Editor, what if I just wanted to change one thing in here? Like, oh, whoops, I misspelled keywords. How do I change that? Well, once you've built it, you can't. You can't do anything to it. All I can do is create a new unpublished post. So now I got to go in and copy and paste all that stuff in here. But how do you know which one of those text fields does what? Like, unless you've done this a while, it's really impossible to tell what the final product is going to look like when you create this unpublished post. So one of the things that Qwaya does really well, let me delete all these these ads, is that they give you, not only do they give you the ability to create templates, so I can just literally drag it over here and it'll put the ads that I created in the past in here, but it also gives you this fantastic capability to select an ad type. So, let me select the page. So I'll select like local niche buy, for example. And then I can go over here and say, oh, I want an unpublished post text ad or an unpublished page post link ad, which is what we want to use. And here's one of the things I really like. So down here, we just unselect everything. We're going to do desktop news feed, and you hover over the question mark. It actually shows you a preview of where the text goes. You can't imagine how very useful that is. In combination with that, when you do the Save As button, it will save this as a template. So you've written all this text in here, you've uploaded all the images. Once you hit Save As, now it ends up in your template folder and you can reuse it again. That is super huge for me because I do a lot of this stuff, and very, very useful. Waldo says, is Qwaya by Paul Clifford? No, I bet he wishes it was, though. Richard asks, do you need to create a new tracking pixel for each campaign? No, you can use the same tracking pixel because the tracking pixel only fires when you get a conversion. The tracking pixel probably needs to be specific to each, you know, concept or site or whatever. You can really create as many as you want, and you can even use the same one over and over again. It's kind of just one of those case by case basis things. So when I've got this campaign going now for local niche spy, I've got go to conversion tracking. You'll see I've got LGW new order, which is lead generation workshop. I've got this generic opt-in conversion. I've got this student loan lead conversion. And I've got LNS opt-in, which is local niche spy. So I kind of do them based on the topic. It kind of goes along with what you're saying about the campaign, but I could use I could create 10 campaigns for local niche spy and just reuse this conversion tracking code for all 10 of those campaigns for local niche spy. But I tend to create a conversion tracking code by project, which I wouldn't necessarily refer to as a campaign. So website, project, or client, or however you want to say that. Does that answer your question? Um, Do you ever use post engagements? Great question, JC. No, I don't use post engagements because I don't really care about post engagements because they consider an engagement things like a like or a comment. What I care about are leads, right? I really care about leads. One of the things you have to realize with these unpublished posts is that an unpublished post will actually get post engagements as a byproduct. That's what makes them so powerful. So if you go back to the, view as a post thing over here, look, there's a like, a comment, and a share. You will get likes, comments, shares, and when they click on this ad, you'll get leads. So you'll get all of those things. It basically covers every possible scenario you can think of. So Denny says, what's the best ad type? Well, my favorite is timeline and sidebar unpublished posts. That's why I've been teaching you guys to do this stuff. What is all this noise going on here? Oh. I'm getting hit up on Facebook for when do you want to go surfing messages. So what I like to do is use the unpublished post because it basically covers everything. I've even tried some of these, register for an event advertisements. And the problem is that when people register for an event, it's an event that you set up on Facebook. And really, if they click yes, they're going to attend, it doesn't actually like register them for your webinar or anything. It's honestly kind of pointless in my opinion. If they could one-click register people in a GoToWebinar or something like that, that would be fantastic, but that's not the case. So um, that is it. I went a little bit over on my time here, but what I'm going to do is next week, I'll share the results of this with you. Hopefully by then I'll either know if this conversion tracking is working. So right now it's saying it's unverified. So I'm probably going to have to change the lead flow a little bit. The reason that's the case is because when you register or when you opt in for local niche spy, it actually redirects you to register on the wish list member page. And I crammed a tracking pixel in there, but I don't think wish list member is letting that work correctly. So what I'll do is create kind of a bridge page or something so that I can track that as expected. And then I'll give you those numbers and we'll see. But right now I'm guessing, based on what I'm seeing so far, The good news is I have nothing else going on, so it's kind of easy to tell you what's happening. So right now I've got 4 registrations, and I've still only spent $4.20, which this isn't real time, so it's about $1 a lead so far. I can tell you right now that if I can convert leads for $1, that I can targeted leads for $1, that I can make money with that, and anybody can. Um, okay, so we got a couple questions in here. That's awesome. Let me bring up the slide real quick, and then I'll answer your questions, and then we'll wrap this up. Let's see. One reminder. What is this? That's old. I got the wrong thing up here. What's this one? I've got too many old slide decks up. Excuse me 1 second while I bring up the right thing. That's also old. Okay, I just wanted to remind you that I've got this lead generation summit. Basically, it's a free seminar here in San Diego. There's one on the 17th in the Scripps area. If you go to morecustomersfaster.com/April-summit, you can sign up. It's totally free. It's from 3:30 to 6:30 or 4:30 to 6:30. I forget. It's on there though. The information's on there. Totally free. You sign up. It's run by a good friend of mine, Henry Evans, who's a local GKIC independent business advisor. He's asked me to come speak, and so I'm going to talk about this topic and actually go through more case studies, including some ads campaigns that I ran for him, and just a good place to go to anyway and hang out and meet cool people, business owners and stuff. So April 17th in San Diego here at Scripps area, and then April 18th in Temecula, which is just slightly north of San Diego, and both free. So you can go there and register for that and see me live, ask me questions, say hi, whatever you want to do. We'll probably also do some webinar stuff too. I don't know. So answering questions. Let's see. JC said, any tips on getting leads for realtors? Yeah, lots of tips for getting leads for realtors. I think in some of the earlier trainings I talked about, asking the question of what happens before the sale, what happens after the sale, that kind of thing. One of the things that you need to think about when you're doing like lead gen for realtors is that for the most part, if you're doing online lead generation, you're typically most successful in the real estate niche finding people who want to buy a house rather than sell a house. Unless you're going after FSBOs, like for sale by owner type people. I mean, you can get people that are trying to sell their house themselves. There's some guys out there who have done some training on how to flip FSBO people into, listings for an agent, stuff like that. But my preferred method of getting leads for realtors is to do information marketing style approach. So one of the things I've done very successfully for many realtors is what I call the area information guide. So usually when somebody is in the process of looking to buy a house, they do it kind of like the way you buy shoes. First you look at, reviews, you look at several different brands, and then you kind of narrow it down to a couple different pairs like a Nike or a Reebok before you make your decision, and then you're start looking at prices. So for a lot of people buying houses, especially if they're first-time home buyers, they're going to look at things like schools, proximity to the freeway, shopping, and what's going to happen is they're going to end up in a neighborhood. So we've done a lot of our advertising campaigns for real estate agents in area specific searches. So like home prices or homes for sale in such and such neighborhood or such and such development. Like I'm trying to think of one that we did not that long ago. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank, but you know what I mean. If you drive around your neighborhoods, these newer neighborhoods and stuff, they all have names for those areas. People commonly know, like in La Jolla, for example, there's Bird Rock, there's the Village, there's Scripps, there's Torrey Pines. So people will search for those specific little niche areas. They don't typically, they're not typically in a buying mode if they're searching for homes for sale in San Diego, because that's a huge geography, right? they're in a buying mode if they're searching for homes for sale in a very specific area. So when they search for that specific area, one of the things we'll do is, the area information guide. So it's like basically a 10-page PDF or something that gives them information about the schools, home prices, very, very specific localized information. And you'll find that people get tremendous value out of that, and you can convert leads really well. Denny asks about ad destinations that work best. Can you be a little bit more specific, Denny, about the ad destination? Are you saying like, are you asking if it's a landing page versus your website, or what are you thinking? Types of pages. Um, well, it's going to depend on the niche. Do you have a specific vertical market you're going after? I could probably give you a better answer if you tell me what you're thinking of advertising. Armand asks if there are recordings of these webinars. Yes, more customers faster. Or, I'm sorry, youtube.com/more customers faster. I'll bring that back up just for your benefit here. That's where you can get the recordings. youtube.com/more customers faster. There's all the recordings are there. Again, I would like to encourage you to like or I'm sorry, subscribe to the channel and like the videos, please. That would help my channel grow, and I would greatly appreciate that. If you've enjoyed these webinars and would like to do that, I'd appreciate it. So Denny's asking about like for coaching, so like coaching type stuff. Well, my favorite thing to do for that type of a market is to give them, again, kind of well, there's a couple different approaches. One of the things that we didn't talk about, although I touched on in past trainings about, Google Analytics and split testing and lead generation, is the multiple landing page types that you can use. One of the things that would work well for that type of crowd is what I call the quiz funnel. It actually comes from the CPA world. So you send them to a landing page in essence that asks them one question to start with, and then a series of questions afterwards that are really designed to get you the information you need for the lead, but also fulfill some sort of desire of the visitor. So for example, it might be a speaking success quiz. Do you have what it takes to be a top speaker in the United States? Or we did one in Forex market where it was called the Day Traders Test, and we said, do you have what it takes to become a full-time day trader? Because there's a lot of people who want to day trade stocks, right? And so it asked them a series of questions about their experience level, how much money they had to invest. It also asked them some techie questions about, signals of buying and selling and things like that. And it gave them a score at the end. But really, at the end, they got a score. They got like a free report. And then we got all the data. So their name, their email address, what their investment level was. And then we could decide, hey, do we want to send them an information product, or are they really a good candidate for some consulting and investment advice? So I like those quiz funnels a lot. Let's see. JC says, are there any chances of seeing videos of your workshop in CA? I don't know if we're going to record that. I think that's kind of up to Henry. If he does record it, I'll be glad to email that out. I think that we will, but I'm not certain. We might just have the audio. I'm not entirely sure, JC, but I'll send out an email. What quiz software platform do you use? Well, from a paid platform perspective, I like Question Pro. So a lot of times I'll use Question Pro for a campaign. I'll pay for the like full blown version of $99, but I'll only keep it active for that month, and then I'll cancel my account or turn it back to the free level or whatever once I have the data that I need. The other option is, if it's not feature rich enough for you, is to actually hire somebody to write something, which we've done. We've done that. I mean, I have developers on staff and stuff. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll use something like Question Pro to initially develop the quiz funnel. And then once we have it where we need it as far as development goes, or testing goes, then we'll have it custom developed after that so we can use it on an ongoing basis. JC says, are you going to be offering any coaching in the future? Not coaching. I think so. One of the things that will happen from the summit is we will have following the summit, we usually offer a workshop. It's a one-day workshop. I'll actually send out an email about that as well. It's a one-day workshop where myself and a couple other techie type folks, assistants, will actually help you build a campaign, a landing page, and even get you leads within one day. So it's a one-day workshop where you walk in the first day with nothing and you leave with a built funnel for your business. And I think right now that is scheduled for May, whatever that first Friday in May is, like May 2nd, I think. So we're going to have a workshop May 2nd that will be, all the people that attend this summit will be invited to attend, and I'll send those details out to you, and you're welcome to, if you're somewhere in the area, you're welcome to sign up and do that. That's probably your best bet because you could really walk away with a completely built funnel. And last one we did in Phoenix, we had several people that were generating leads by the time they left. Others had things that they wanted to implement first before they actually finish their campaign. So it just depends on how prepared you are for that. But yeah, that would probably be your best bet, is to attend that workshop. Right, it'll be right here in San Diego. So May 2nd, you can put that on your calendar if you like as a reminder. And I'll be emailing that out probably around the 20th of April, inviting you guys to sign up and come attend that. Tremendously valuable. We have I made the commitment that anybody who attended, if they didn't generate leads, it's a paid event, but anybody who doesn't generate leads out of that, we give them their money back because really the purpose is for the people that attend to actually get a funnel built and be generating leads and be happy. So if that sounds interesting to you, that was coming up as well. So that's it. We've actually gone quite a bit over today. We're at 51 minutes so far. Don't mind that, but do have an upcoming appointment here in 9 minutes, so I do have to let you guys go. I will convert this recording and post it to the YouTube channel. So once again, you can go to youtube.com/more customers faster, and please like it, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Leave a comment, would appreciate it. If you leave a comment, I'll comment back. And thank you, Armand. He's leaving me some good compliments there. So, all right, guys, I will see you next Thursday. We're going to talk about, maybe I didn't get to that yet, did I? Where am I on my slide deck here? Did I even mention that? What are we going to talk about? Oh, here it is. Okay. So next week, we're actually going to talk about how to build a webinar that sells. So not everybody knows this, but I've probably sold close to $1 million worth of info products using webinars, and I have a system for that. I haven't sold quite as much with video sales letters, but I've got some proof to show you and share, and I'll show you the formula I use for doing video sales letters, and then also how to sell live from the stage. Really, it's the same formula, and just reformatted a little bit for each approach. So if you've ever wanted to know how to sell using webinars or VSLs or sell live from the stage, I'll give you my format for that, and I'll give you some examples and some results next week. And then that way, if you ever need to do it for yourself, you can, or if you even just need to consult with a client, help them understand what they need to do, you'll have a kind of a guide to follow. Now, one of the things I promised you last week was an advertising checklist that was going to be posted in the upcoming members area from morecustomersfaster.com. That didn't get done because I'm just having some sort of problem with the members area setup. So I assure you, as soon as it's available, I'll let you know, and you'll probably want me to shut up about it after I do have it up and running. So that's more updates on that next week. And again, if you want to come to the workshop or to the lead generation summit, well, hopefully you can do that. So that's it. Thanks again, and we will see you next week at the same time. And if you can't make it, of course, you can catch the YouTube replay. Talk to you later. Thanks.